So, if you're a project manager, you know the grind managing schedules, spotting risks, analyzing mountains of data, and making things happen. Today, we are moving beyond simple automation. We are diving into how artificial intelligence is transforming our roles and delivering projects faster and more accurately. I'm thrilled to have Santosh Rout join us, CEO of Navan AI, a company specializing in AI and automation in productivity and operations. Santosh will share the most exciting developments in AI that are truly changing how we run the project, as well as the new skills you and your team need to thrive in this new era. In this conversation, we will join forces to merge my project management experience with Santosh's AI expertise to deliver practical, real world AI applications for the messy world of project management. So let's jump in. Santosh, w- introduce yourself and tell us what we are covering today.
Hi everyone. My name is Santosh and I'm the founder of Navan AI. At Navan AI, as Anurag mentioned, we help businesses with productivity and efficiency using AI and automation tools. Um, yes, and yeah, over to you, Anurag.
Great. Thanks, Santosh, for joining. So let's maybe start off with the first question, and then we can take it on as we go along. I'm sure we'll have a lot of insights today. So I think the first question to you is: so AI is often associated with automating repetitive tasks, but if we ignore the simple automation tasks, what's the single biggest, most exciting development in AI that is happening right now that truly changes how a project manager runs a project?
Yeah, so I think project management is one area where the AI adoption is actually quite low at the moment.
Mm,
And
you're
according
right.
to a
Yeah.
recent survey, yes, 22% of the project managers are using AI in specifically in project management area. But I believe that most of this 22% that the Capterra survey says are probably from IT, tech, or maybe consulting domain, who are usually tech
Mm,
savvy.
okay.
But for core industries like construction or manufacturing or industrial projects, the AI use cases or the project managers are not so tech savvy to be using AI. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my opinion. But yeah, that's what I see that's happening in most of the core industries.
You're right,
And from
Santosh. Yeah, when I deal with these project managers and with people from industries, so the project managers who are in the technical industry, like the software development, they are much more savvy and they use a lot of tools, and they have been traditionally doing that. But when it comes to the other infrastructure industries, it's a little bit less. So your observation is quite on the spot. Yeah.
yeah, right. And for these industries, I would say even automating small repetitive tasks is a big win
Mm,
because for project managers, it frees you up from mundane tasks.
correct.
And yeah, coming back to your question, when you said what are the big things or what are the new AI use cases that we see in project management, I
Mhm.
would say that AI is a big enabler, and how we use AI, it's up to us, and how we use in project management specifically. We should look at AI as someone who is very knowledgeable, and then we feed our own project data in order to get intelligence or insights. And sometimes we can also find gaps in our requirements, or we can get AI to draft our project plan. We can ask AI to summarize reports, or even we
Mm,
can ask to forecast our schedule. So, provided
mm,
we have given our historical data of our past projects to AI, AI can predict or identify risk, and also can help us in forecasting the schedule of the project.
I think risk also from what is currently there as well, and not only the past, right? If you set it up rightly, you can even see today's risks that are happening probably in real time as well. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So identifying a risk to identify a risk for AI, we need to provide historical data. Ability of AI to look at patterns at scale is what makes it identify um, risk in project management.
Okay. Okay. No, that's very useful. I think traditionally the project management used to rely on historical data. So obviously, I mean, either we call it an experience or it's old lessons learned, and then of course a lot of expert judgment for risk and of course the schedule forecasting. And the projects, of course, require constant monitoring, and project managers must stay on top of them. This can be
Yes,
quite challenging and also prone to risk because if you haven't had enough experience, you could generally make mistakes. But if you are if you are really experienced, then you can bring it based on your data. But now that with an AI, you can actually pick up somebody else's knowledge as well and build it in, which is quite valuable. Um, and how is AI acting like then a crystal ball to spot risks and predict schedule problems way faster and more accurately than any human ever could? Right? How is it doing that?
so, as I mentioned earlier, so AI is very good at identifying patterns and handling
Mm,
data at scale. So, we
mm,
humans are not very good at handling a lot of data at the same time. Whereas
correct.
with AI, you can feed in your past historical data as well as your current project data. And with that amount of data, it can find patterns, it can look for risks and issues, and can tell you that okay, this is where you may this can be a blocker in a project, or this can be an
Mm,
issue or risk in your project, and then it can help you identify those, mitigate those risks. And
yeah.
so I'm speaking from my own experience in project management, and also and recently, we were working on one of the requirements where we fed AI our requirement as well as some of the questions that we asked to our customer, and AI could identify some of the gaps that we didn't ask, but there were gaps in those requirements. So as you can see that AI is able to identify risks or gaps in requirement that we humans often maybe may overlook.
Yeah. I think it probably is also, one of the big risks in large infrastructure projects is, for example, the cost of steel going up, right? For example,
Yes,
just an example.
yes,
And, the project managers probably don't see the rate day in and day out. But if you're connecting it to the right data set, you can see how the
yes,
steel prices are fluctuating and it feeds back automatically to the project manager saying, okay, the steel is going up as a price, and you have budgeted this much value in your costing. Maybe it's time for you
yeah,
to take some risk averse. So those are things that don't that AI is kind of helping you get the data and helping you make some decisions, right? So yeah, okay.
yes, yeah. We can connect to real-time data sources in order to identify certain risks, especially in traditional project management, like construction companies or manufacturing companies. So yeah, you
Mm,
rightly mentioned. So let's say there is a steel that's involved, and then we have to procure steel, and the steel prices are going up, or some other material prices are going up. So if
yeah.
we have those data sets, we ask AI to monitor those data sets and then put it in, and with the help of right um, questions, AI will be able to identify the risk in advance. Yeah.
So I think then that means that with AI handling more of the administrative and analytical load, project managers then can focus on new skills. that kind of make them more successful. And I think there are skills which go beyond. So people worry that AI is taking over their stuff, but then for project managers, actually what it does is take away the pain of doing the analysis and the pain of trying to look at data all the time, and focus on more things which are more human related, which are much more critical for a project manager, because things like stakeholder engagement, right? So
Yes.
it frees up the time from creating a report to actually going and talking to the stakeholder, or
Yes.
things like having difficult conversations with people in the project. There are people who have issues, you need to solve them as well. Those are the things that AI can't solve. Those are things that you have to
Yes.
solve as a project manager. The interactions with your team, the directions you want to take. I think that pretty much becomes on fingertips, and those are the areas for the project managers and or project leaders that really kind of get addressed when you. Otherwise, they're constantly looking at data. They're looking at making reports. The most common complaint that I used to hear from project managers: "Oh, it takes so much of time to write a project report, and I don't think
Yeah.
anybody reads it." Right. So I think those are the things that kind of go away out of the equation. And the project manager, I think it probably improves their work-life balance as well, because I remember working 16 hours a day just to make sure that the project was on track, right? So I think now it's not analysis, but taking decisions based on analysis that has been obviously given to you by the tool. So good, yeah. I think
Yes.
I think let's move on. um, I think from a so let's take it from an organizational perspective, right? So
Yep.
for an organization, if they are looking to integrate AI into their project processes,
Yes.
uh, in my view, I think AI is also something that organizations are themselves looking at implementing, and you have seen a lot of things happening on an automation at the on in the of the work processes within the organization. But when you come to projects, I think it's still a subset of the overall universe of the organization. So it's probably much more easier to do it. But that's my thinking. But how have you seen? So what's the most challenging part actually getting the AI set up in project management done? And what's your best advice for getting over this hurdle?
I think the biggest challenges in implementing AI in project management, we can safely say that the challenges are people, process, and the tools that we use. Most of the
Mm,
time, we do not follow a proper process,
mm,
and the data is everywhere. So the data is sometimes in spreadsheets, it's there in the emails, or there we are using, let's say, Jira to manage our tickets and tasks, but suddenly we start maintaining a spreadsheet to maintain few other things.
mm.
um, and that's where most of the issues or most of the challenges would come when we try to implement AI in project management. And again, uh, as I said, the other factor is people. um, how do we make sure that people actually follow the process that we implement? If
Yeah.
we cannot uh, implement a process, we let's say we tomorrow we decide to implement AI in project management, and we ask everyone to follow certain tools. That okay, from tomorrow we use only these tools and we follow these processes. But if people do not follow those guidelines, people do not follow the processes that we define, then it becomes even more challenging. So we can set up an AI for project management, but if people do not follow them, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So yes, so these are some of the challenges I think when somebody
So
wants to
it's
implement AI, they have to overcome this.
yeah. So it's people, process, and tools and data. So four
Yes,
things, because data is everywhere.
yes,
Tools you need to set up, processes need to be followed, and people need to agree
yeah. So
that they need
once
to
you
follow. Mm.
once you set up the tools and the processes, the data actually go into those tools, and then you have a set of tools where you have access to those tools, and then you
It's
get
quite
that data and feed it into project management. Sorry, AI.
Yeah, but that's quite interesting because we are actually looking the fundamentals of execution. And the fundamentals of
Yes.
execution, the base fundamentals of education execution is these four things, right? Your
Yeah.
people, your processes, your tools. The tools support the people, and so tools support the process. Process supports the people, and data, of course, is the underlying thing that you need to have. So it is no different from the execution, but is now that you are making tools to probably make it a lot more easier to set up the process, and but eventually people do have to follow. So
Yeah.
that's a good one, I think. And most of the organizations need to look at from an holistic point of view and looking at all those four things and then set it up. I think, as your organization, which does some of this work, they have had that experience to look at how organizations put it, right. So
AI
that's
and
a
automation.
very
Yeah.
good insight. Yeah. Looking ahead, what's the next big thing in AI? And technology, we are not even entirely using the AI as of today, right? People are still trying to figure out, and before they figure out, the next new thing comes up, right? And so
Yeah.
what are these things that are going to shake up the whole project management completely?
I was going through one of the report by Gartner, and it says that
Mm,
by 2030, 80% of the project management tasks or day-to-day tasks are going to be done by AI.
okay.
So yeah, and then just now we mostly talked about how AI can help in project during execution phase, on monitoring phase, or identifying risks and mitigating them. But what I see is AI will be used in more in planning stage going forward, and
Mm,
AI can simulate an entire project in advance to identify
right.
risks, to improve the project success rate. So,
Okay.
for example, um, yeah, I can let's say simulate multiple Monte Carlo simulation, you know, and then try to identify what are the blockers that can come up during a certain stage of a project, and then can suggest that okay, these are the areas where you may face certain blockers, and these are the risks, and you have to plan a mitigation plan in advance for this.
Mm. Yeah,
So
that's very futuristic. Yeah, and yeah, that would. I mean, the success rate today of projects is around 22%, which means out of every 100 projects, only 20 are the ones which, when I say success, doesn't mean that it's not completed, but it means that whatever the objectives that it was were
success within
created
those
for its success,
parameters,
yeah, which it doesn't
yeah,
happen, right. So they're only that's a very low number, right, and I hope that
very
goes up
low number.
significantly. Yeah, so it probably
Yes,
goes up
and
once we start using. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think for big, large scale projects, a simulation is very helpful. So you can
Mm,
see your project, advancing through different phases, and
right.
you're still in the planning phase, and
Correct.
that's where a lot of project can, and we can reduce the failure rate of the projects if we are able to
Mm,
foresee the issues. We are
mm,
able to foresee the risks that might come up during the project execution.
okay.
Um, yeah, and I read one more report where it says that some of the projects maybe entirely will be handled by AI
Possible.
in 20 years. I mean, yeah, it looks scary, but then I'm sure we will have better things to do.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure. I think the project managers will be very thankful when that happens because they will have then a lot more other things to do than just just trying to anticipate things
Just
all the
trying
time.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Any example that you can share where you have used the tools today to automate some things? I mean, just an example. I know you are doing a lot of stuff. There are a lot of, and also you're building up a training, which we'll talk about in a moment. But do you want to just
yeah.
share something? Yeah.
Some Yeah. So some of the examples that I can share is, you know, small wins like um, take the transcription of meetings or transcribe your meeting first.
Mm,
People who do online meetings, of course, the meetings are always transcribed by your Gemini or your Zoom meeting or your Teams meeting. But for people who do physical meetings, they do not have a way
mm,
to transcribe. But there are tools, there
right.
are physical devices, so there are apps available that you can keep it in the middle of your discussion, and then uh, those apps can record your voices and then transcribe.
Okay.
So we have certain tools where you take the transcription and then those transcription can be converted into tasks. And those tasks
Yeah.
then go into your Jira or your other project management tools. So
And
these are some
it
of
can
the
go as an
small
email
wins
as
that,
well. Yeah. Can
yes,
go as
it can
emails.
go, yes. And then
Yeah.
there are a few other use cases, and we just had a webinar where we were talking about automating your RFQ. So
Mm,
some project managers, they may have to handle a lot of purchasing during their project. It could be
mm,
civil related, it could be manufacturing related. But if they have to purchase materials and they have to send quotation or RFQs to different vendors, so those kind of tasks earlier it used to take at least few days just to prepare those documents. So now
yeah.
with AI automation tools, you can create those RFQ documents maybe in few minutes, and of course you will have to spend some
Oh,
more time in correcting them. But imagine your 2 days of work being coming down to 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So you save those many hours that you can spend in other valuable work in project management.
listening to you, I want to be, I want to, I hope this was 20 years back. I would love to be a
Uh,
project manager again. So it is so incredible. I mean, I used to spend hours working and weekends and, project manager life is difficult. I mean, this is one profession that takes a lot out of you. So I think what we are talking about here is, there's considerable dent in the in the troubles that they have. So that's really good. I think it's very, very valuable. That was an
yeah,
incredible, insightful look into the future of project management, Santosh. Thank you very much.
thank you,
If
Ania.
you, as a listener, you're feeling the shift in the project manager's role and want to learn the skills needed to succeed alongside AI, Santosh and I have created a training course for you. So, Santosh, can you briefly outline the course and the structure? And what do the participants
Um,
take away from the course? Yeah.
yeah, so it's a 2 day course, and we have
Mm.
divided it into four parts. So the first part is basic introduction to AI, machine learning, what is AI, what is generative AI, and so on. The second module is
We'll
where
also
we talk
touch
about,
on prompt engineering. Sorry. We'll also touch
yeah,
upon prompt engineering in the first year as well, first as well, right? So yeah,
first
just
module, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
So in the second module, we will talk about how to set up a AI-driven project management. So when you want to
Mm.
implement AI in your project management, in your projects, how do you set it up? And so that's where we will talk about the data ecosystem, different types of data ecosystem, and then how to set it up, how to apply AI in your project. Uh,
Yeah.
then in the third module, we'll talk about AI agents and how to build AI agents for
Okay.
your projects, especially for your projects. And yeah, and then the last module is a capstone project that yeah, Anurag, if you can give a brief about the
So
capstone
it's
project.
about a specific project that we will give you to build the whole tools around it with the help, of course, with us, or you can bring your own project specific one and build it along with us. Uh, I think the takeaway here is that once you do this course, you can actually go back and from next day onwards start applying some of these things. It'll also give you a vision on how the overall setup should look, and what you can use, what tools can you use in your projects. I mean, if if there is a large project, you could even call Santosh and us to help you integrate into your day to day work. So we are quite we do this stuff, and and we can help the organization as well to help you set up your own thing. But that's post 2 days, of course, and that's a separate activity that we would do for you. You will find all the links and of the course and topics we discuss in the show notes. So please go through them and reach back to us when you need. And yeah, so that's what we had today. So thank you, Sandra. Anything that else you want to add, or we can? Is there anything that we have not discussed and you would still want to discuss? The last.
I think we have discussed quite a few things, and I am excited that project management these days will have some peace of mind.
Yes.
In our days, when I used to project manage, or when you used to manage projects, we used to have all sorts of issues in the project and firefighting almost every day. And
Correct.
so, whether we, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure with AI coming in, a lot of tasks will be handled by AI,
Yeah.
and so that's where project managers can focus on, the area that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
hopefully will get out of this. One new problem every 2 hours is something what my thumb rule was when we were doing projects. So I hope that doesn't happen away again. So that's great. But thank you again, Santosh, and thank you all for listening to One Third Life. Until next time, we have other podcasts coming as well. Listen to them. There are interesting topics on work life. That's why it's called the One Third Life, where your work life, which is 8 hours, then impacts the rest of your life as well. So listen to some more topics there, and see you again. Thank you.